Good morning, good morning. Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2023, and today we're going to be going over my OTCs that are on watch for today. So let's get started. Let me make sure this is set on the other screen. All right, I got the SPY up on the screen. Oh man, SPY was pretty volatile this day. It must have been like a Fed meeting or something like that 2 days ago. I think there was actually. Let me see. If there's any news. Oof. Uh, doesn't matter. Probably was some. Obviously, there was something. So, looks like we're still sitting up above this resistance trend line. So, curious to see where we go from here. Yesterday, it seems was the first red day, first red candle, I should say. So, we'll see if we topped out in the high 14s here, and we'll just take it a day at a time. Post and pre-market coming up a little bit, but who knows? Just good to see. Still pretty high, especially up off of 2020, that panic during COVID and all that. So I'd love to see this thing crash down, but we'll see. All right, let's get into it. Put my watch list up on the screen. I'm still holding VNTH. I'm probably going to end up cutting it this week because I'm just tired of it. And it'll probably be like a $15 loss, but not too bad. It is what it is, and that's my one bag hold. So, well, so far, knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't take any more. All right, TLIF. Watching this choppy, illiquid. I have alerts set for it. I'd love to see this thing panic, but we'll see what it can do because it could hold up and continue. Looks like it did break this little trend line though. Let me cancel right extension here and do that. All right, but we'll see. Oh, did I get rid of that? Whoops. All right, ETCC. This is one I traded a couple days ago on this big green day that my watch list is covering. I don't think I traded it in the afternoon, but I made a little bit of money on it in the morning, and I made a little bit of money on it yesterday. I bought it into here when it didn't crack anymore. I wanted it to hold this area, and when it held it at open, I got in and sold it into this little pop here. I wasn't greedy at all, but I mean that's like close to 10% or 10%. So nice. Now it looks like it's failing. Probably not going to be something I'm going to be huge into watching, but we'll see. If it cracks hard enough, I might end up trying to dip by it, but it has to get really low at this point. Maybe down to, let's see, maybe down to under 60. I don't know. We'll see. We'll play that by ear. CGRA, recent runner on some moderate volume or some good volume for the past 3 years, except for this one little day here. Um, I should probably set up some trends for that, but that's all right. Had a first screen day yesterday. Doesn't look like it had news. So just keeping this on watch, see what it does. Actually, you know what? I'm probably gonna put an alert up there. Let me see. Where could I put one? I suppose. I don't know. Honestly, I want to just watch it a little bit more. I'll put an alert up here just to see. Parg, P-A-R-G. I mentioned to him in our little pod chat, POD chat, that it's kind of looking like a walk up like Clow and FRFR, but it's just not as clean. So I wanted to see it for a couple more days. I think he got in on this day, and he's risking losing all his money. It's just a small position, but he's has wide risk on it really. So just curious to see what happens with it, because technically on the daily it's been closing and gapping up every day. So I'm curious to see. Today it's 205 by 225. So probably will gap up a little bit. If it can get above this, I might long a piece and just hold. but super small size. So we'll see. Just watching that. CEOS, I'm waiting for a panic on. Let me see. Oops, let me cancel. Actually, no, I could just get rid of that. Remove that, and I'll leave that as it is. Yeah, I'm waiting for a panic on this. I'd love to see this thing crack down, maybe under 5, but we'll see. Because it's kind of holding up, at least so far. GGII. Um, I think I missed it on this day, or I didn't touch it on this day, because it's kind of, you know, you don't buy, I don't really buy into spikes, really. And then you don't know which way it's going to go here. I mean, I guess you could make a case for buying here and selling into most post or in the late afternoon, and then maybe hold a piece, but I'm not really sure. I think I bought it in here at 4, and I sold it for a small gain, and I think I took some small gains or something along in here on dips, but I didn't trade it too much. HMBL, believe it or not, I'm in this overnight. Let me get rid of that. Get rid of that. Actually, no, let me keep that just in case. So that might actually prove to be a good trend line today. Um, Probably not a good one to be in overnight. I'm only in small, but and believe it or not, I also made money on the way down. I bought it down here, sold it in here. Let me get a little closer. I bought it down in here. Let me move this other window here, my recording window, so I could see what's on screen. Um, yeah, I bought it down here yesterday, and then I sold it, I think, pretty much break even. I think like a 1 tick loss. And then I rebought it 1.3, not a great entry. Looks like it's gapping down today. We had like 4 million buyers after market closed at like in the 1.4s. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens, but if we have a gap down, I'm just going to cut. And if it pulls hard, I'll re-enter with a larger position because, like I said, I'm only holding a small position overnight, nothing huge. When I took these 2 other trades, it was double the size of what I have here. So that's my top watch in the morning. VPLM. This one I did not trade at all yesterday. This was perfect run up consolidation. Like I mean this is I didn't touch it because it was technically I guess the fourth green day, but I just couldn't bring myself to buy it, even though I mean I definitely should have based on the technicals from how it looked here, but I just couldn't do it. Eight twos, I think I said, yeah, if it pushes 8 twos, I could enter, but I almost entered off this dip, almost entered in here, and I just couldn't pull the trigger, so that's okay. I think, let me see, did I trade it in the afternoon? What is this? VPLM. I did trade it in the afternoon. Yeah, I did trade it in the afternoon, and unfortunately, I only scalped it. I think I bought it down here, sold it into this pop, bought it in here, sold it into this pop, and then of course it pushed that nice almost 10% that I was looking for. So kind of sad. The spread was a little wide. I got nervous because obviously when something's up this much, I was thinking it could just crack right out into the, especially if it fell past this POC for the day. I was thinking this could really set up for a panic in the afternoon. So just similar to HMBL, I didn't want to chance it. Um, like yeah, it's just tough. So I took just like here, I took my profit when it didn't look like it was going anywhere, and it just so happened that this one bounced. So that's okay. I'd like to see this thing pull back and maybe get a panic this morning. That's another top watch. BCNN, tough one. Uh, but 4 green days in a row, up from under 1 penny to 9 cents. So I'd love to see this thing crack. Maybe 4 cents, maybe even 3 cents, get down to the twos. I don't know if that's asking too much. It's kind of a liquid, but the volume's been decent for the stock lately, so I'll just keep that on watch as well. AITX, don't really have a plan for this one. It's just a recent runner that spiked yesterday into close, so I'm gonna see where it can go with this. We're at this resistance support line, so just keep an eye on that one. ITOX, no real plan on this one either. I'd like to see this crack. Ideally it comes down to the high fours or even under four, but we'll see with that. Actually, I'm gonna check this one. SIRC, this one, I think, yeah, I ended up making, I think overall making a little bit on this yesterday. The daily's kind of rough because it's like it did push a little bit and then have this like ramp, and then it's coming down, right? But it's kind of tough to buy a panic on something that's not doesn't really have that much of a run, um, which I don't consider this to be a run really, especially with how beaten down it is. This would be more so of like a run, but I tried it. I think. Let me see, where did I try it yesterday? 933. I only bought it in here. I sold it into this. Oh wait, no. Where did I get it? Let me see. Where did I get in? 933. Oh, 943. Oh yeah, sadly. I bought it at 44 here. It looked like it bottomed, then it snapped to 42, and of course I cut, and that was a moderate little loss there. And then I rebought it at 945, 439, kind of chasing it there. And then and then I sold it like into here because I didn't like that it didn't have that bounce, and then of course it just bounced, had a nice steady bounce. But I rebought it. I think I rebought it up into here because it looked like it held that up, and that was a higher low, and then I sold it along the way up into here. I think my last sell was what, 1021. Yeah, my last sell was like 473. Yeah, it was right here. So not too bad. Small losses and then taking that gain. Um, so that's just how it goes. 4% and then a 1%, and then I made well, I guess the percentages weren't too great because of that entry, but that 4% kind of hurt me. I only lost $6, but it is what it is. Anyway, so watching that again today, nothing. I don't know. I don't really want to buy it. I don't really want to buy it. I probably won't even touch it. Let me zoom out and look at it again. I don't know. I mean, if it could push, I might jump in small, but we'll see. AMIH, another one that's just running. Look at this volume compared to the rest of the 3 years. We had this volume surge, pullback, consolidation area. I guess you can call it consolidation, but it didn't even really consolidate because it's kind of at the lows. So, just pullback and then another ramp and now break past that resistance area. So I just want to keep an eye on this one. DSHK, still keeping an eye on it. I want to see if it can crack hard. Um, I'd love to see this thing crack to, low 30s. Um, but we'll see. Let me see. I'm gonna put an alert down here at 38.5 area. So I might dip by that, but we'll see. BLIS volume, moderate for the past 3 years. Nice push here, and then now like that was kind of like a J hook. Um, yeah, this right here to the right. And now I'm just keeping an eye on it. Doesn't trade too much intraday though, so I'm probably not going to touch it. It's just something to watch. If it does panic, that's another thing that I'm watching for. So just keeping an eye on it. Oh, excuse me. PRKR, man, I took some small losses on it here. I scalped it into here, into this, and I got lucky. I held on this pullback. Let me zoom in on the daily. I held on this pullback because I figured it just felt too sharp, and then I had an order ready to go, and I ended up getting filled up here for like the other, I think it was half of my position. So I sold the first half like up here, the second half up here, and then I think I entered like down into here or in here somewhere. But and then I took some scalp losses in here looking for a bounce because I mean obviously this thing went up to 55 and then pulled all the way back all the way down to 23. So I would expect some sort of bounce. But scalp losses, I got in here, scalp loss. I think I got in here, scalp loss, and I think I bought in here, and I ended up selling it into this. Um, yeah, I bought some in here, sold 2/3 I think before this, and then I sold the last third up into this pop. Then yesterday I rebought it, and I rebought it. I think my average was like 17.5, so it wasn't that great. And I held it all day just because it was holding up, and I sold it into this 20s area. I sold some for small gains, and then I sold some into here. So not too bad. I'm just keeping an eye on it because I want to see if it can push. Let me create an alert. I'd like to see some bounce because I think it does have a history of bounces. Yeah, although it seems kind of immediate, or more immediate. So I don't know, kind of a wacky chart though. A lot of wicks. Um, so just something to be careful of. AIAD end of day pop. I think Knoxville made some money on this yesterday. Tommy Knoxville, and he's on a cruise. He made like 750 on it. Um, Jealous, but that's awesome. Like good for him. And he's kicking ass. Um, I don't really have any plans for it. I just want to keep an eye on it. MGY, like I said the previous days, waiting for this to break range, see what it can do. WNDW, I'd love to see this thing crack a little lower. Add an alert here. SKYE, same thing. I want to see this thing crack lower. Just holding up so far. UATG, same thing. I mean, horrible intraday, but I want to see which way it can go. I probably won't even trade it just because of how awful this intraday is, but I guess if I were to trade it, I would focus on the daily. GVSI, another one that's kind of had a run, and then let me see where the volume's at. Volume sucks, really. Um, Recently it's not bad, but overall it kind of sucks. Um, I'd love to see this thing pull back hard in the morning, and then maybe get to see maybe get to. I mean, ideally it gets to 1.4s, but I don't think that's in the cards. Um, but again, we'll see. GDVM. I mean, this thing's starting to push. I'm just keeping an eye on it. Really has a lot of these fake out panics, like where it seems like it's just going to fall apart, and then they rip it right back up to the highs. Really tough to trade. ABML. I'm just watching this because it's been pushing lately. I don't like the potential percentage. I don't like the intraday. It's kind of clean when you're zoomed out, but I just don't like, even in here, you buy this consolidation, or here you buy this push here, 67. Then if you sell it that day, best case scenario, you sell it at 70, let's just say. So you're making what, under 5%, like 4%. And then you have this crack where you get nervous. And then, okay, so then it goes to 78. So you make 15%, but that's like, in my opinion, that's like best case scenario. I'd love to see this thing crack. So we'll see what it can do. I don't really like it, but it's on there. SPYR, this is my swing. Of course, I had some at 5.2 in here. I cut some at 5.1 in here because I thought 4 was going to fall apart, and then 5 just stepped up huge. 5, I thought 5 was going to fall apart. Excuse me. And then of course, it pops, and I don't sell any. So that was the issue. If I didn't cut here, I would have sold some into here, because there's no way I would have gotten. I would have stuck with my whole position. But since I cut some, I was hesitant to sell some there. So good lesson. But again, it's a small position. But that's what I said about VNTH, and now I'm down like 15 bucks on a $24 position. So GTII, just watching this for a panic. I want to see this thing come down. Looks like we're primed for a gap down today. It's 215 on the bid, but 199 on the ask. So I think this thing if this thing breaks 2, we could see under 150. No problem. Just got to be careful because that one kind of it looks like it's going to flip and then it'll trick you out. So I have to be very disciplined on that one if I trade it. GDSI again, another one I'm looking for some downside, but just a liquid. GMER. It started pushing, so I'm just keeping it on my watch list. Nothing crazy. WLAN. I mean, this came off the lows and just had 4 crazy days. Um, so I'm just watching it. I want to see if this thing could panic a little bit more. Let's see. I guess I could put an alert here just in case. It's not really like an ideal trade, but if it gets down that low, if it gets down to the fives, I might take a stab. TXHG, a liquid, but I mean, this could be a J hook. So I have oh, I don't have an alert set. Let me set alerts for it. I'll put it, yeah, I'll put it kind of close here. And QIND. I think I just added this one. Close to 3-year highs. Looks like the majority of this volume is obviously the POC is at 34, but we still have a lot of volume at, just at the 40, low 40s area. So if this thing could push that, I mean, potentially sky's the limit. But if I zoom out, let me see. What do we got? Max available by the day. Let's try that. Yeah, so it's just the same thing. So that pretty much sums it up. Main watches this morning. GTII was one. Where's the other one? HMBL because I'm long overnight. Not ideal. Yeah, looking like a gap down this morning. That kind of sucks. But, I literally entered the trade like 2 seconds before market close, and then I said, well, that was stupid. So I'm glad I went small, but that was just a dumb trade, I think, especially when it's down that much. I mean, this thing could just gap down to 1, or it could just, it could just delist, or go off. They could be investigated. So that was just stupid, but that's okay. VPLM's another one, and SIRC and GTII, like I said. So that pretty much sums it up. Hope you have a good day, and stay safe and kick some ass.